4:30. Breaking news at once and anytime at WBT.com. I'm Jim Barrell, WBT News.
Where Charlotte comes to talk. This hour of Citizen Cervaceous, thanks to Diamonds Direct South Park, the Carolinas Direct Diamond Importer. Tara Cervaceous on News Talk 1110, WBT.
All right, so if you've been listening to this program or to Keith Larson's program, I think maybe Hancock might have spoken with somebody from this organization as well. This Strengthen Charlotte, right? You've heard of this group. They had a big inaugural meeting. They got a lot of people out. Former Mayor Vinroot, former Mayor McCrory got up there and rallied the crowd. Their idea is to create a bipartisan think tank type of an operation. They've received some criticism, from myself included, because they don't have any Democratic members. No Democrats are on this board except for one, Darren Rankin. That's it. And so when we were talking about this last week, I think, with Lynn Wheeler, I got an email from Matthew Reeps. He is the political director of the Libertarian Party of North Carolina. And he said he would like to chat with me about this Strengthen Charlotte idea. So I said, well, why not come on the air? So I booked him for Monday, and then I got sick. So it's Wednesday, and welcome to News Talk 1110 WBT. How are you, Matthew?
I'm doing fine, thank you. I'm glad to hear you're on the recovery side of your adventure over the weekend.
Yeah, probably not happier than me, but so let me. The email that you originally sent suggested that you wanted to share with us your opinions from a Libertarian Party official perspective, and I'm curious. I was curious, and still am. What that perspective is on this Strengthen Charlotte idea. Are you on board with this idea?
I think it's a fairly good idea. I had met Tariq Bokhari, who's the president of the Strengthen Charlotte board, during the City Charlotte City Council election, in November, and got to know him a little bit. And he discussed this with me a couple of weeks ago. And frankly, what sold me on it was the concept that we come together and focus on the things that we can agree on. And Tariq is a Republican and myself as a Libertarian. There are a number of issues that we probably will disagree on, but based on the principles that they set forward, there are a number of things there where we can find areas of agreement. And, we can advocate for these things while we settle our differences off to the side.
Do you think that this Strengthen Charlotte organization has the potential to be used for certain Republican candidates? To essentially hijack the Tea Partiers or this groundswell of anger and frustration that has been identified?
Well, that's certainly possible. One of the comments you made when you were speaking with Ms. Wheeler last week was this idea that it could become a Republican echo chamber. Mm-hmm. And I'll agree that the possibility is there. And I'll tell you, the difference between that happening and it becoming a truly bipartisan effort is simply a matter of participation. And it's the same as our political process. It's all about participation. If you don't show up, you don't have a voice. Now, granted, Darren Rankin is the only really visible Democrat on the board right now, but whether it becomes a Republican echo chamber or not, I feel is really a matter of Democrats being willing to show up and be a part of it. I'm willing to show up and be a part of it. I think the overall concept is good.
And you're not the only one, correct? There are other libertarians who have joined this group?
Oh, I counted at least 5 other libertarians at the meeting. There might have been more that I haven't met in person yet. I certainly hope there were.
Sure. So, in other words, don't blame the Strengthen Charlotte guys if Democrats don't want to sign on to this.
Yeah, I would say that's accurate.
But then how do you go? How does the group then bill itself as a nonpartisan think tank if what it is espousing is obviously not attractive to Democrats?
That's a reasonable question. The 5 principles that they put in writing are efficient government, reasonable taxes, individual liberty, free enterprise, and upholding the Constitution. I would like to think that there are any number of Democrats, certainly middle-of-the-road Democrats, who find those 5 items attractive ones that we can all work together on.
And so they're not joining indicates what? That they believe it's a Republican echo chamber, or they believe it's a Republican front, or they just don't agree with the principles? Because, like you said, I would think that those principles would be fairly benign. So therefore, I have got to ask, why aren't they? Why is there only one Democrat who has signed on to this endeavor when the principles, as you've mentioned, would seem to be, fairly all-encompassing for all different political stripes?
Well, again, perspectives may have a lot to do with it. I certainly, as a libertarian, I could sit over here and look at this group and say that very same thing. It's just a bunch of Republicans, and it's just to push their candidates. But I know the magic secret of politics is participation. If I don't show up, and if I'm not willing to participate in what I think is a good idea, then, at the end of the day, it will just be a bunch of Republicans. And, if they're the only ones there, they're going to be setting the agenda. But the invitation is out there for everybody to be involved, and certainly I'm going to take them up on it and invite other libertarians to do so. I want libertarians to be involved. I think it's a worthwhile effort.
Do you want Democrats to be involved as well?
I absolutely do.
Are you going to invite any of them?
Yes, anybody who's willing to show up and be part of this effort. And there are a number of things that they're planning to do. No,
I mean, like, you personally, do you know any Democrats that you're going to go to and ask, hey, why don't you come down to this Strengthen Charlotte thing?
In daily life, yes. I'm not familiar with some of the party officials.
Right. Well, that's what I meant. Yeah, just in like your everyday life, some Democratic folks, and so you say, hey, why don't you join up with this thing?
Oh, God, absolutely. Absolutely, yes. There's no reason not to.
Well,
it's what's going to give it legitimacy in the long run. And you're right, there is a perception issue. But, again, as a libertarian, I'm willing to look past that and say, yes, that's what it's going to be if I don't step in and become involved. We need others to do that.
And it's a valid point. Matthew Reeps is the political director of the Libertarian Party of North Carolina. And it's a valid point, Matthew, that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy if specifically Democrats point to it and say, look, there are no Democrats, therefore I'm not going to join, therefore it's only a Republican organization. Yes, you're going to create that which you've lamented. So I get it. It's a valid concern, but I'm not aware of what kind of outreach the organization has made in order to get Democrats in. And I don't know which would be a better answer, if they've done none and they only have one to show for it, if they've done a lot and they only have one to show for it. I'm not sure which of those answers is a better answer, except to say, yeah, you need some more Democrats to get involved if it's going to be truly bipartisan.
And that is a fair point, and I have not been involved from the beginning. My first meeting was their inaugural meeting, so I'm not sure exactly what the answer is to that.
Sure. Well, I appreciate taking the time and chatting with us today. Matthew Reeps is the political director of the Libertarian Party of North Carolina. Thanks, Matthew.
Thank you very much. You have a good day.
You too.
Opinions based in facts. Citizen Servatius on News Talk 1110 WBT, where Charlotte comes to talk.